Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today is a special day. We welcome you to the UNCW Athletic Hall of Fame Luncheon 2026. My name is Tom Lamont. I will be your Master of Ceremonies today. We welcome you to beautiful Wilmington, North Carolina on the campus of UNCW, here in the Golden Hawk Room here at Trask Coliseum. We thank you for being with us today as we pay tribute to the outstanding UNCW student athletes, coaches, administrators, and contributors during our 15th induction of the UNCW Athletic Hall of Fame. It is indeed a great day for Teal Nation. Please, a round of applause. At this time, we would like to introduce to you today's inductees. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome men's tennis great, Rafael Aita. Volleyball star, Amy Solowski. Baseball coaching legend, Mark Scaff. Basketball coaching icon, Jerry Wainwright. Ladies and gentlemen, your inductees to the UNCW Sports Hall of Fame. Inductees, please return to your families and friends. We'll be having our fellowship and luncheon here shortly. But again, welcome to everyone here today. At this time, please help me recognize the members of the Hall of Fame joining us today. And I'm asking the members that are here with us today to please stand to be recognized as your name is called. From the class of 1999, National Junior College Baseball Champion, David Miller. From the class of 2002, dominant big man in men's basketball, please welcome Gary Cooper. From the class of 2004, a member of the school's first NCAA Division I basketball team, let's welcome Dave Wolf. From the class of 2006, men's basketball coaching pioneer, Mel Gibson. Also from the class of 2006, basketball standout and Rhodes Scholar nominee, Bill Mayu. From the class of 2010, star baseball catcher, Bruce Cavanaugh. From the class of 2012, volleyball and women's basketball star, Sheila Bowles. Are there any other of the inductees from previous years that just walked in? Anybody else that just came? Just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. So let's give a big round of applause again to all of our Sports Hall of Fame members. At this time, please help me greet UNCW's Director of Athletics, Michael Oblinger.
Thank you, Tom. How are we doing? Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Man, there's a lot of celebrities in this room. A lot of celebrities in this room. I will be brief because I think I'm between us and lunch. Tom, is that correct? Okay. What a wonderful day. What a wonderful day for these four. But it's also a wonderful day for the families and friends that have traveled a great distance. International travel, some folks coming from California, some folks being here local. Thank you for traveling to make this a priority for their inductees. This is a special, special day. A couple thank yous I'd like to do before we move on with the program, and then really how we got here. I've been here 3 years now. I've been here a number of weeks, and Joe Browning comes into my office and tells me he wants to retire. After a couple weeks of me trying to talk him out of it, he did indeed retire. We tried our very, very best to fill his big shoes of when he left, but ultimately the Hall of Fame was something that was his baby that we just didn't have someone to fill that void for us. About a year ago, talking to Tom, we said, let's try to talk Joe back out of retirement and come work for us part-time, and to do this for us, right? Because this is an important part of what we're trying to do here. This is an important part of our program. It's an important part of our university. It's an important part of being a Seahawk. Reluctantly, Joe got back involved on a part-time basis to do this. Probably convinced Mary as well that this was a very, very important thing for us. So I just want to say, Joe, thank you for welcoming back, first of all, and thank you for doing this. Thank you. And Sam back in the back there as well, this event and your staff, thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Are there other members of our committee? Is our Hall of Fame committee here? I don't know if we have members of the committee or not, but ultimately, I can't think of a more higher honor for an institution like ours for these inductees because they get voted in by their peers. Okay, so you're voted in by your peers into this Hall of Fame, which I think is a truly, truly special, special thing. So thank you to that group. I want to speak to Raphael and Amy here briefly. When I speak to student athletes, prospective student athletes, freshmen, transfers that are coming to UNCW, we talk about a holistic experience. We talk about competing at the highest level. We talk about playing for the front of the jersey. And ultimately, you and Raphael or Amy are in my mind when I'm thinking through that, right? Here are examples of people that have come here, bettered the place, won at a high level, went out in the community, represented us at a high level as well. Thank you so much for all that. Thank you so much for what you've done for our institution, and welcome back. Coach Scaff and Wainwright, in a lot of ways, the coaches for our men's basketball and baseball programs right now are living up to your standard. In a lot of ways, you woke this up. The winning, the championships, the way you handle yourself in the community, the many, many lives that you've impacted with your players. I mean, those are profound things, and thank you so much for what you've done for our program and our university. In closing, I just want to say congrats to our inductees. What a wonderful honor. Thank you for all that you've done for us during your time here as well. This is a great day. Thank you very much. Tom?
Thank you, Michael. Now, if I could get Dr. David K. Miller to come forward to provide today's invocation.
Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to honor these four individuals. They have served and represented this university with pride and honor. They indeed have been role models for others. Lord, we also thank you for this university and its leaders, staff, faculty, and students. May they always seek to do what's best for the university and to please you. Lord, we thank you for this food and the individuals who prepared it. May it nourish us. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Please continue your lunch if you have not finished it at this point. Before we begin our induction ceremony, we'd like to take time to recognize three inductees who have left us since our last induction 3 years ago. Lefty Lou Howard, class of 2002. Lou passed away on August 12, 2025. He sparked Wilmington Junior College to the National Junior College Baseball Championship in 1961, before earning all ACC honors at Wake Forest. We salute Lefty Lou Howard, class of 2002. Dr. William P. Nixon, Jr., class of 1999. Dr. Nixon passed away on November 12, 2025, and was a tremendous friend of Seahawks athletics, serving as president of the Seahawk Club in 1985, and contributing to the funding for this building, the Nixon Emquist Sports Medicine Complex, and many scholarships for student athletes. We salute Dr. William P. Nixon, Jr., class of 1999. David Sandlin, class of 2000. David died on December 19, 2023. A pitcher and outfielder for the baseball team, he played for the Seahawks from 1970 to 1973 and paced the team to a 114-38 record over 4 seasons. David was drafted in the 21st round by the St. Louis Cardinals and was the All-Star Game MVP in the Gulf Coast Rookie League. We salute David Sandlin, class of 2000. Please join us at this time in a moment of silence in gratitude for the contributions of these three remarkable gentlemen. Thank you. Before we begin the formal portion of the induction ceremony, I'd like to share just a brief history of the UNCW Athletic Hall of Fame. It was established in 1998 to honor individuals who have brought positive recognition to the university. Membership is open to individuals who have made outstanding contributions in one of the following 4 areas. Number 1, as a superior competitor. Number 2, as a teacher coach with a distinguished record. Number 3, as an administrator who has made a long-term exemplary contribution through strong leadership. And number 4, an individual who has brought distinction to the university's athletic program in other ways. All right, it's time now to deep dig into all of our inductees, find out more about them. Some of the family and friends know all about Jerry Wainwright, but some of us may not know some of the details. Mark Scaff, his family's here. All of our inductees are here, but we want to share with you why we're here to honor them today. So let's begin. Today's first honoree came all the way from South America to leave his mark on the UNCW men's tennis program. And that he did. Let's learn more about one of the most decorated players in the program's history, Rafael Aita. Watch the videos.
Channeling David Copperfield with a tennis racket, Rafael Aita was a hustling magician on the courts during his stellar career with the Seahawks from 2011 to 2014.
We found out about Rafa, a friend of mine actually called me and that was traveling to South America and said, you need to check out this guy, Rafael Aita. And we really looked into him, and he had come over and beaten some of the best American players, but was kind of still low on the radar even though he had beaten them, and we knew we had something special.
Rafael Aita's time here at UNCW was really special. He was part of some really good teams, and just an exceptional person and player.
Aita from Chiclayo, Peru, played #1 singles and doubles over his 4 seasons, leading the Seahawks to a 72-22 record, 3 CAA championships, 4 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances, and a team ranking in the Intercollegiate Tennis Association as high as number 33.
Rafa's game was big. His forehand is still one of the biggest I've seen in college tennis. Very clean all around, but could really hurt people with his forehand, and was a fiery South American guy. But if you talked about Rafa, you were talking about his forehand.
Individually, he climbed to number 17 in singles and number 14 in doubles. Aita earned first-team All-CAA honors 3 times in singles, twice in doubles, and was named CAA Player of the Year in 2013 and 2014.
I remember his freshman year, and in our first round we played James Madison, and it was one of the few times that Rafa, he just played a bad match, and he got beat. I think the intensity of the moment surprised him a little bit. And I remember him coming to me and said, "Coach, I did not know it would be like that." He said, I will not lose again. And I don't think he lost again in the conference tournament the rest of the time, and clinched a big match for us.
He became the first UNCW tennis player to earn CAA Player of the Year accolades in 2013. In 2014, he was named the CAA Tournament's Most Outstanding Player. Aita lost only 1 conference match during his 4 seasons at UNCW.
But Rafa is, I think, has a great argument to be the best player that's ever come through here. Potentially, we've had a number of great ones, but ranked among the best of the country in singles, ranked among the best in the country in doubles. The only player ever, him and Sam won the regional tournament, which is a huge deal, and the guy is excellent in everything that he did. Is now a super successful investment banker, and he's just the guy that's going to find success wherever he goes, and represents our program as well as anybody could ask.
On the national stage, Aita played in 2 NCAA singles tournaments, 1 NCAA doubles tournament, and 4 NCAA team tournaments as a Seahawk. Alongside teammate Sam Williams, Aita won the ITA Carolina Regional Championship in 2013, leading the duo to a ranking as high as number 14 after going a perfect 17-0 in doubles. That's a school record.
My relationship with Rafa was really strong. Rafa and me connected pretty much from the moment he got here, and I think it grew stronger through the years as he was here, and still even today we talk a lot and laugh and joke a lot about his time here and just kind of the things he's doing now.
Aida racked up a 64-18 singles record in his storied career and went a sparkling 42-10 in doubles play. He ranked second in all-time singles victories, 64, and first in singles, 780 percentage, and doubles, 808 winning percentage at UNCW. Capping off his career at UNCW, Aida was named recipient of the Thomas V. Mosley Award as the school's top student athlete in 2014. Internationally, Aida represented Peru in the 2014 Davis Cup before deciding to retire from professional tennis to pursue a career in corporate finance. Aida becomes the first men's tennis player to enter UNCW's pantheon of Seahawk greats.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good memories about Rafa. One of the funniest memories of Rafa was he actually thought that eating popcorn with a lot of butter was like a really healthy snack for him, and he showed me the trick where you take the straw and you put it on the butter machine, and then you actually inject all the butter into the popcorn, which I thought was pretty funny.
But my favorite story is, as you know, he married a player from our women's team, and they have this beautiful family now, and he was in love with her from the beginning. And we were driving to the conference tournament, and he's talking about her nonstop, and they hadn't really started dating yet. And every cool guy rule that there is to follow in courting a girl, he broke every one of them. And he won Player of the Year at the conference tournament, and he's giving a speech, and the whole speech is basically to her about her, and we're like, oh man, you're gonna blow it, don't do that. And he did it, and of course, Rafa being Rafa, everything works out for him, and so to me, that's him, the most humble, just heartfelt guy that you're gonna meet, and doing things his way, and always seems to find success.
Aida draws inspiration from his wife Angie, a former UNCW tennis star in her own right, and their new daughter Amelia. Today, Aida serves as a director in the investment banking division at TD Securities in Toronto, covering North American financial institutions.
He got to 17 in the country, probably the highest ranked athlete of all time at UNCW in any sport, I would guess. He was the 17th best player in his sport. The guy has an incredible level, was here 4 years, and just he deserves everything he gets because he was just an incredible player and an incredible worker.
The biggest thing about Rafael Aita is his heart and his humbleness, and to me, that's, you know, sometimes I forget about all of his playing accomplishments, but I remember his heart, and I remember his humbleness, and his character is who, you know, makes him the person that he is, and it's just a great example of our program.
Rafi, I'm sorry we didn't have popcorn, but you'll be able to get some at the baseball game this afternoon. If we could get Athletic Director Michael Oblinger, please come up to present a special award now to Rafi. Rafi, you'll come up, please, as well. Let's give him another big round of applause. All right. They're undercover. There we go. Oh, wow. Photo op.
Were you wrong?
Where do we go? Here, no? Yeah. Yeah, you want to be by you. The floor is yours. All right.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. That was a very heartfelt speech by my coaches. So they are throwing a curveball at me right now, so I'm gonna have to do my best here and not let my emotions get the best of me. So I would like to start thanking the UNCW Athletics Department, Michael, Tom, Sam, Joe. This is an amazing event. I'm very happy to be part of it. It is really an honor to receive this award with Amy, with Mark, with Jerry. You guys made a huge contribution to UNCW, and for me to be here right now, it is really just a pleasure. I do want to say a special shout out to Joe Browning for being such a great host. Very patient with me as well, because I'm a mess with my scheduling and coordination is not my skill. So thank you, Joe. So about Joe, actually, he's semi-retired now, kind of retired. But back in the day, you could always count on him to capture really the best moments of your career. He took some incredible pictures, and you saw them there. To this day, some of those pictures remain in my heart, and they're really cherished moments that I keep close to my chest. So thank you, Joe, for preserving those moments. It's always great to see you. So actually, when Joe called me last year to tell me that I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I was honestly overwhelmed. I thought we chatted for about 20 minutes. I started pacing around my house, replaying championships, players, friends, foes, great experiences we had here. And I was trying to put into words to Joe what this meant for me, and I couldn't. That was a really bad phone call, actually. So look, before I go any further, I do want to recognize two people that had a profound impact in my life and career. That would be May Dubois, Taylor Bond. You've heard from them. They stole the spotlight from me today, but that's okay. So they're currently in William & Mary. They are out there winning another CAA championship. For the ones of you that don't know, they've won 5 CAAs in a row. This will be the 6th one if they win, knock on wood. I will admit this is probably the only acceptable excuse for them to not be here right now. So that's okay. So May and Taylor, they are the foundation of UNCW tennis. Since 2008, they built something truly special. Championships, consistency, a culture that really demands excellence. More importantly, they taught me lessons far beyond tennis. There's discipline, there's resilience, accountability, what it really means to compete, and I really mean compete versus some teams that we had no business beating. I will always be grateful, although I'm really looking forward to kicking Taylor's ass for that comment of the popcorn. That's not supposed to be known. So look, what does Wilmington mean to me? The truth is, Wilmington changed who I am, changed my life. This is the place where I made lifelong friends, learned some of my toughest lessons. I met my wife, Angie, also a Seahawk tennis player. Angie can be here as we just welcome Emilia, our daughter, to this world. I actually love Wilmington so much, we came all the way from Toronto to get married here 3 years ago. So we just love it here. It's a beautiful place. So I do want to talk a little bit about my friends. They came, Matt Keeley came from all the way from London just to be here 3 days. It's his beautiful wife, Holly. Siva is here. He came from Florida. He was a track and field athlete. Matt Keeley was my roommate and fellow college tennis athlete. Essentially, when I came here my freshman year, I came with Matt, Pedro, who's not here, and we roomed together for 4 entire years. We didn't have a single fight for 4 years, and I think of all the accomplishments I can count upon my career, just having this type of friends is the best accomplishment I can get out of my experience here. Most nights we were spent eating Cheetos, playing video games, pranking each other, debating a lot of tennis, and usually with a Mexican beverage, our favorite Mexican beverage, supplied occasionally by Sivas, of all people. One of those nights, Matt tells me that I should pursue investment banking. That is for weird people that like me, just odd people that should do jobs that nobody really likes doing. So that's what I've been doing for about a decade, and weirdly enough, I really like it. I don't know if he told me to stop talking. I don't know if he told me to do this, so I stopped talking about Angie, which I did do a lot, or because he sort of believed in me. Either way, the best advice I've ever received, and I actually love that job. So the nights that Matt wasn't giving life advice, we would actually go downtown or to the beach bars. Everybody here, I think, has been to the beach bars or downtown at some point over the last many years, just to recover from a tough workout, just to let off some steam. And let me tell you, nothing builds resilience like walking home at 4 a.m. in a thunderstorm from the beach. So I need to thank you, Matt, for that life-changing experience. Thank you. So, Sivas, one of my proudest memories was training with you at 6 a.m. for months before work. Nothing teaches you humility like trying to follow an Arnold Schwarzenegger routine we had no business attempting. I mean, I was sore every freaking day before going to work, and my body did not change one bit. so we'll see. But thank you, Sivas. That was great. So look, the point here is that to this day we're still incredibly close. We've been at each other's weddings, we travel together, but we've shown up when it matters the most. And today that's one of those days. Happens to be for me, but I can't wait to be there for your wedding, Sivas. I can't wait to visit you guys soon in London when some news happen. So that's what Wilmington is really about for me. It's not the words. It's just getting to know some awesome people that I can spend life over the next few years. So we were great friends off the court, but on the court we were actually enemies. We sort of hated each other. We pushed each other really hard. We did win 3 conference championships, made a second round NCAA appearance, beat many teams. But I do want to take a sidestep here a little bit, and I want to talk about my parents that traveled all the way from Peru to be here, to my sister and my nephew that traveled from Orlando. I do want to spend a few minutes here, so please bear with me. They actually introduced me to sports when I was 2 years old. My dad was a soccer player, my mom a volleyball player. They understood what it meant to chase something, even when they didn't make much sense. They didn't actually know what tennis was. I grew up in Chiclayo, a town of 500,000 people. For some of you guys, that's literally middle of nowhere, and that's okay. That's literally where it is. This town had 3 tennis courts. They were in rough shape. There was no tennis tradition, no roadmap, no clear path. Just really a teenage dream, like Katy Perry would say. That's my favorite. I'm a big Katy Perry fan, guys. But still, my family believed. They essentially said, look, you want to play this sport that we don't even understand? Go ahead, go and play, have fun. So at 15, they made one of the hardest decisions a parent can make. They let me leave home. They invested everything they had. They made sacrifices I didn't fully understand at the time, and supported me from a distance. Astrid, my sister, who is here today, along with my siblings, they essentially took me, they guided me, they kept me in the right path as I left home very, very young, and I didn't want to screw it up. So everything I am today, who I really am, I think it's really for that family system, that belief that they installed in me. So really very grateful to you guys and everything you've done for me. So another side step, sorry guys. I also want to thank Edel, my first boss. So I graduated in 2014, and I hadn't had a single internship. I was going to play pro tennis, and then the very next day I just said I don't like tennis that much anymore. So I want to do finance. Nobody would hire me, not even close. So at a time when doors weren't opening and when business made everything very complicated, she took a chance on me and gave me a job here in UNCW. So my first job ever was here. Again, to the point of Wilmington meaning a lot to me. If you need a Spanish interpretation at an event back in 2014, that's literally what I did. So right now, for example, somebody will be doing the interpretation from English to Spanish. I will be doing that. And I was horrible at it. I did not deserve that job. But thank you, Edo, because jokes aside, without that support, I actually wouldn't have been able to stay in the US and really continue to chase my long-term opportunities. And that really meant everything to me, and it still does. Thank you. To my wife, Angie, and this is the last thing I'm going to talk about. Thank you for your friendship from day one. I don't want to thank you for the friend zoning, but thank you for the friendship. Thank you for your patience when I stepped away from professional tennis into a very uncertain path that I wasn't prepared for. And for believing that somehow, despite all the obstacles that life could throw to two foreigners, we will somehow build a life together. This recognition may have my name on it, but I think it really belongs to all of us, and obviously to all of the UNCW support I've had over time. If there is one thing that this journey has taught me, it's this. Where you start does not define where you end. Sometimes the path won't make sense. Sometimes it won't even exist. But if you're willing to bet on yourself, to work when no one is watching, and to keep going when things just don't go your way, you can build a life far greater than anything you imagine. Not perfect, not even predictable, but I think meaningful. A lot of people who make it all worth it. This place gave me that life, and for that, I will always be proud to be a Seahawk. So, go Hawks.
Rafael Aita, ladies and gentlemen. Katy Perry sent her regards. She wasn't able to make it, but just let you know that she sends her regards. Wonderful. Great story. Thank you so much for sharing your story here at UNCW. Like Rafael, this afternoon's second honoree is the first from her sport to be recognized in the UNCW Hall of Fame. A dominating force in the middle, she held court for Coach Kathy McDaniel's volleyball teams from 1990 to 1993. Amy Szalowski. Szalowski, right? Yes. Please enjoy her story.
Amy Szalowski embodied determination, power, and athleticism during an outstanding career with the Seahawk volleyball program from 1990 to 93.
Yes, Amy was probably one of our best recruits. We actually pulled her from Duke, but Duke wasn't offering her a scholarship, and so she came here, and she was probably the top two players we ever had in the 14 years I was here. So she was a good team leader. She was aggressive, which I love. You can't teach aggression. And on and off the court, she was a good academic player, and she was definitely a team leader.
A hard-hitting middle hitter from Durham, Szalowski learned from a young age that she enjoyed the spirit of competition and had the ability to excel on the court.
Well, as most freshmen, they did extremely well in high school. And it's a little adjustment when you come to college and everybody's at the level that they were. And so it took her a while to, have finesse, see the block, go around the block, be trickier, but she certainly excelled at all those things.
She enjoyed an outstanding career at Jordan High School in Durham before making her way to the coast for the next chapter in her volleyball journey.
She was a great team leader. She was at the end of the game when most people say, please don't set me because I don't want to make a mistake. She's like, set me, set me. So she was definitely one of those players that in a crunch you wanted to give it to her because she would do something with it. Probably the most difficult thing she had to learn is not to be so hard on herself. She was more or less very hard on herself as a freshman. She had more than high expectations, extreme expectations, and we had to learn to manage that a little better. But at the end, she was certainly a player to contend with, both on the court and on the league. I mean, she was one of the all-star players that was difficult to get on at that time, so she was a great player.
Shalowski sparked the Seahawks to an 82-55 record over 4 seasons and was named a CAA first-teamer in 1993. She also collected second-team All-CAA laurels in 1992 and CAA Player of the Week honors in 92 and 93.
She had good technique all along. She needed to learn the finesse of going around the block, going over the block, being smarter, not stronger, because she already had the strength and the speed, but she was a power player. When she hit a ball, you knew it. And if it got blocked, it was hard on the team opposing us as well as us trying to pick it up. So she was a power player and a good player.
Shalowski's name dominates the school's volleyball record books. She ranks first in 5 career statistical categories and first in 9 season charts. In 137 career matches, she leads the pack in kills, kills per set, solo blocks, total blocks, and points. Shalowski tops the seasonal list in kills, kills per set, total attempts, solo blocks, total blocks, blocks per set, sets played, points, and points per set. Shalowski becomes the first Seahawk volleyball player to earn election to the UNCW Athletic Hall of Fame.
Because she excels at whatever she does. She could play basketball, she could have played many sports, but she chose volleyball because she loved volleyball. And I think what makes her a Hall of Famer is no matter what the situation is, she made it the best it could be. And she wanted the ball, so she took the pressure off other people. And she wasn't setter's fault. No, it was, if she hit it and blocked, it was her fault. And so we had to manage that part, but she didn't do it often.
She enjoys spending time with family and friends and resides with her husband Rick in San Diego, California, where she is a senior event planner for Trade Show Logic, a full-service events solutions firm.
She was one of a great recruit. I'm glad we got her from Duke. I think that she excelled here, and this was a place for her. I think she was definitely better as a Seahawk player.
Amy, if you would come to the podium, and our athletic director, Michael Oblinger, will come up and present you with a special award. I'm glad I never had to face one of your kills. Can't imagine what that was like.
Oh my. You're going to make this hard on me. Hello, fellow Seahawks family and friends. Thank you to the Hall of Fame Selection Committee for this honor, to the Planning Committee for planning such a wonderful event, and congratulations to my fellow inductees. It's truly an honor to be on this stage with you. My volleyball journey started later than most. I was going into 8th grade at Githens Junior High, and my sister tried out for the Jordan High School team, made the team, and I decided I was going to try volleyball as well. Spoiler alert, I made the team, and I can vividly remember practicing my hitting approach in front of the mirror, and I'm sure that I did not look I was not as athletic as I thought I was, right? But from the very start, I was hooked on getting better. I joined a USVBA team, and we ended up playing, the same teammates ended up playing all through high school at Jordan. So we became a very consistent team, and we were very good. We qualified for the Junior Olympics in 1987, and I had the opportunity to play in the JOs in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it was an awesome, awesome experience. By my senior year, all the time in the gym and on the court together paid off, and we went undefeated in my senior year and won our state championship in the 4A division for North Carolina. What's incredible is that in the same year, in the same arena, Bobby Pate and Josie Youngblood won their division championships in high school, and we ended up teammates together at UNC Wilmington, which is pretty fantastic. And Bobby's here, Jen's somewhere. Jen's right there too. When I was recruited for volleyball, UNCW was my first choice. The girls, the coaches, I just felt so comfortable here. The beginning of my academic career at UNC Wilmington was a little bit rocky. I was fully committed to volleyball. I was not so committed to 8 a.m. classes or classes in general. So I learned a pretty quick lesson, which was no classes meant no volleyball. And I realized at that time that school was very important to me, and I made an effort to study hard throughout college. I have such great memories of playing at UNCW. My freshman year, we played at the Naval Academy in their Forrestal Classic. And at the tournament, there were a lot of guys watching us play. And I remember telling my mom after the tournament that I was going to transfer to the academy. I was ready. To which she answered with a hard no. And that was a good call on her part, because being at UNCW was so important to me. I remember the long van rides with Jen and Leslie and Bobby. We had such good times, hysterical laughing fits. We're still friends to this day. 2 of them were able to be here today, which I appreciate so much. And also, side note, Jen's mom makes the best turkey sandwiches. They were magic. Please tell her I still talk about them to this day. I can't forget to mention the late night gas station fill-ups while we were traveling. The freshmen were expected to do all of the gas station fill-ups, and Bobby and I were the only 2. So if there's 2 vans on the road, that means we're getting out in the cold, whether we're sleeping or not. It wasn't fun, but it built character, as my parents would tell me. When Katie Kirk from Englewood, California, showed up on the team, she made an impression on all of us. Every time she would dig a hard hit, she would taunt and yell and intimidate. It was like nothing we had ever seen, and it was so effective against other teams. I still remember our first practice together. We became roommates my last year in school, and we were lucky enough to reconnect in San Diego. She's one of my closest friends and made the trek here to be here today. So thank you, with her wife Shannon. I feel so fortunate, extremely lucky to have had the opportunity to play volleyball. Volleyball gave me far more than wins or stats. It brought incredible people into my life. Amazing coaches like Margratha Chambers, who was my very first volleyball coach in junior high, Coach Kathy McDaniel and Elaine Penn here at UNCW, mentors that shaped me, including Diane Lloyd, who guided me through the college recruitment process and truly believed in me. Volleyball also brought lifelong friendships. Many of those friends are here today from near and far. Excuse me. Some who I played on the court with, some who have supported me all along the way, and some who I've known since Githens Junior High. I'm thankful to all of you for taking the time to be here to celebrate with me. Volleyball brought my husband into my life too. Victor, also here from San Diego, was a teammate on a post-college co-ed team, and by inviting a friend to come play with us as a setter, he introduced me to my husband, Rick. When we finally told him that we were dating, all he said was, "You better not mess up our team." And we didn't. We had a lot more fun seasons together. To my family, this recognition belongs to you as much as it does to me. Mom and Dad loved opening our home to teammates and friends, giving us a place to unwind, connect, and have fun together. My mom, Lorraine, who's so supportive of everyone, our taxi driver when we couldn't drive, nutritionist, amazing cook, party planner, problem solver, and fiercest protector. Thank you for always being there. When things got harder off track, you stepped in without hesitation and went to bat for me every single time. You made me feel supported, protected, and loved no matter what. I know my friends would also tell you the same, that you extended the same care to everyone and always made them feel like they had a second home. My dad, Rich, college athlete, played football at Wabash on offense and defense. Wow. He was always there to talk through challenges and give advice about sports. Dad taught me to box out and mean it on the basketball court. Does anyone know or remember the strength leg training shoes? If you don't know what they are, you basically did your workout on the ball of your foot, so on your toes the entire time. They were a special type of torture, but they were effective. They made your legs stronger and your jumps higher. Dad got those shoes for me. I'm not sure I was very grateful at the time, but they made me a better volleyball player. Thank you, Dad, for doing everything you could to set me up for success and for always believing in me. My big sister, Krista, moved to Wilmington after she graduated from UNC Greensboro, where she was fearless as a goalie on the women's soccer team. It was amazing to have her close. She was so supportive, and knowing she was in the same town was so comforting. I've looked up to her my entire life and followed in her footsteps more than she probably realizes. She is a warrior, and I am proud to be her sister. My little brother, Matthew, or I guess I should say my younger brother since he's 6'6". He was dragged to every match my parents attended, including tournaments on the weekends. He might not have appreciated all the time he spent in the gyms watching volleyball when he was younger. What's that? But he's always been one of my biggest supporters. My husband, Rick, you are home to me. Thank you for being my constant, my partner, and my unwavering source of support in everything I do. Volleyball brought us together, and I cherish that we shared time on the court and had so much fun. Sorry, y'all. I'm thankful that marrying you also gave me an incredible bonus family. Excuse me. I don't need that happening. Thank you to my other family members that traveled and made the time to be here. I appreciate and love you all. Uncle Matty and June, Auntie Rita, my mother-in-law Judy, my brother-in-law Steve, my sister-in-law Meredith, my nieces Haley and Sydney, and last but not least, my nephews Caden and Lane. And to my family, you have no idea how full my heart is to have you here today as well. It feels especially meaningful that we're continuing this celebration on the UNCW baseball field today. My grandfather, Grandpa Matt, was a Hall of Famer as a baseball coach at Rutgers University. My Uncle Matty played baseball, my brother played baseball, my nephew's at UNC Asheville on the baseball team. So I'm really excited that we're continuing the party at Brooks Field today. Before I go, can we take an Ussie to quote the Ted Lasso show? All right. Thank you. I want to say again how truly honored and grateful I am to be standing here and to be representing UNC Wilmington Women's Volleyball. Thank you again to the Hall of Fame Selection Committee and to everyone here. And as always, go Seahawks. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much. We just got an Instagram just a few moments ago. It's amazing how information flies so quickly. Apparently, they're still upset in Annapolis at the Naval Academy. Thank you for staying at UNCW. Yes. I'm just joking. I'm sorry. Okay. Wonderful. Our third inductee is a favorite son who returned to his alma mater and turned the Seahawks into a perennial CAA baseball powerhouse and NCAA regional participant. His 28-year head coaching career was highlighted by 941 victories and 10 postseason appearances. Mark Scaff.
One of the most beloved coaches in the history of UNCW athletics, Mark Scaff led the baseball team for 28 seasons, compiling a record of 941 wins, 707 losses, and 1 tie.
Well, being in a position where I played and coached with him, it goes back even further than that because my brother played here first, and I came here as a kid, so I got to know him even more. So this relationship's been going on for 40 years now. But as a player, you could tell he really cared about you, even though he's still a coach, and at times it's like, oh, well, I don't really like this guy too much at times. But then as a coach, you could see where he was coming from, to just genuinely a good person wanting what's best for his players.
Scaff arrived in Wilmington following an exemplary high school career at Cary High School and was a 4-time letter winner at second base for the Seahawks. Scaff's coaching career began as a graduate assistant at UNC Chapel Hill, and he became an assistant coach at UNCW in 1984 for Coach Bobby Guthrie before taking over the program in 1992.
One funny memory that stands out would be when we were in our first regional down at LSU. We were playing Northeastern. They weren't in our conference at the time, but we were playing them in the second game. There was a play in the outfield. There was an argument with Coach Scaff and the umpire about the play. Well, when I'm speaking to the umpire between innings one time, and we're just chit-chatting and going over the play. Well, I come back in the dugout, and Coach Scaff, at the time, he's got his glasses on, they're down, and he's like, "What are y'all talking about? What are you guys talking about?" And so I told him, well, a guy from Northeastern hits a foul ball, and it's turf out in front of the dugout. On that first hop, when it hopped, it picked up tremendous speed and bounced in the dugout, hit the concrete roof at the time, and Coach Scaff was walking to get some water, I guess. And that thing came down directly on his head. His hat turned sideways, and his glasses were barely hanging off his nose. And he turned around with there was probably no water left in the cup, but he had no idea what just happened. And it was right after the play. I was like, that's what he gets for being so nosy.
He retired at the conclusion of the 2019 season. Scaff holds the distinction of being the all-time winningest baseball coach at UNCW and the Coastal Athletic Association.
As far as coach being a player's coach, I definitely think it applies to him, and it comes from maybe how he got here. Being a smaller guy from Cary, North Carolina, he had to fight for everything he had. To me, Wood had to fight for everything he had to get to this level. So I think him understanding what it takes for someone that's maybe not as talented but has to overcome a lot of obstacles physically, then I think he sees that in his players, and I think that translates to him being a player's coach.
Under his guidance, UNCW won 9 CAA regular season titles and 6 tournament championships. The Seahawks qualified for 10 NCAA tournaments.
To describe Coach Scaff's coaching style is quite a contrast from where it started. I think he was more conservative in the beginning. When he first started out, didn't want to make a lot of mistakes. We bunted a lot. We had to make sure on every play, we had to field every ground ball right in front of us to do it the right way. I think once the program evolved because of him creating an atmosphere to get better talent, I think he opened his coaching game up a little bit and allowed us to be a little more aggressive at times, take chances at times because of the players that he was now recruiting. But in the beginning, maybe it was conservative, but it turned out to be something that he knew what he was doing all along. It ended up that way, looking like he knew what he was doing all along, and obviously you can see where we are now.
The 2008 team reeled off a school record 21-game winning streak and set a program record with 44 victories. A total of 83 of Scaff's former players have played professionally.
As far as where he stands with an overall program for UNCW, you know, to me personally, because I know him the best, I knew Coach Brooks too, but to know the time that he's put into this, obviously Coach Brooks started the program, but Coach Scaff has been, you know, he's been the rock of this place for 40 years. So won over 900 games, he's Coach of the Year in the league, probably 6 or 7 times. He's been with the USA program, so he's really put us on a national level. It started small, but what he's done in this at UNCW with this game, I think has brought us not only just with baseball, but with the whole university. He carried USA on his chest for several years, and that meant a lot. So to me, I'd put him right there with Coach Brooks. 1A and 1B, and you choose who's A and B.
Scaff was selected CAA Coach of the Year 7 times and American Baseball Coaches Association Regional Coach of the Year on 5 occasions. Scaff was inducted into the Greater Wilmington Sports Hall of Fame in 2023 and becomes the 12th player or coach from the UNCW baseball program to earn election to the UNCW Athletic Hall of Fame.
I think he should be in the UNCW Hall of Fame because if you have a Hall of Fame, he's your guy to put in there. There are tons of options, but he's one of the top options that you have to choose to put in there. He's, like I said earlier, he's brought us from a program that's a regional program to a national program, and anyone that's put us on a national level, I think earns the right to be in the Hall of Fame.
Faith and family have always been at the forefront for Scaff, and he's always treasured a close-knit connection with his extended baseball family. He and his wife Allison have been married almost 42 seasons with their children and grandchildren close by. Mark Scaff's love for his alma mater continues to be manifested today as he serves as a special assistant to Director of Athletics Michael Oblinger.
Well, a few things I would add would be the type person he is. That comes first, beyond being a great coach. I tell my kids all the time, be a killer on the field and never bet anyone off. Well, he is that way. He's a killer on the field. In his business, whatever he's doing, he's a killer, but he's also never bet anybody off. I mean, this guy's got so many accolades, and he's in a couple of different Hall of Fames, but he's no better than you when it comes to speaking to you or caring about you. There's a lot that goes into being in the Hall of Fame, and I think that his personality, his persona, has portrayed that above what he's done on the field.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That is amazing. Well, Mark, you don't have to be nosy anymore. Come on up. Come on up, and our athletic director, Michael, will come up here and present you with your special award. Congratulations.
I know y'all like that mustache, didn't you? Allison apparently did, because I had it when I asked her to marry me. First off, I'd like to thank the committee members for considering and recognizing me along with this group of distinguished individuals. Congratulations, Rafi and Amy and Jerry. It's my honor to go in with you all. Deeply humbled, extremely honored to become one of the newest members of the Athletic Hall of Fame. My desire to teach and coach began watching my high school coaches, how they showed up with enjoyment, energy, passion every day. My parents, Mom and Dad, were really the driving force in my decision to teach and coach. They encouraged us to pursue our passion, instilled a work ethic second to none, taught us compassion, and the importance of relationships. They allowed us to grow through our own failures and successes, yet they were always there to provide advice. We knew there were always consequences for our decisions and actions, good, bad, or indifferent. I was fortunate to have played for, worked alongside, and befriended a lot of outstanding coaches throughout my career. Of course, in this profession, you're constantly learning from other coaches, and you're evaluating and adapting those ideas, those thoughts, to fit your personnel and your program. I want to recognize several people who took a chance on me and believed in me even when I wasn't sure myself. Coach Leon Brogdon. Coach Brogdon took me right out of his organization administration class and recommended I work alongside him as a Pender Academy high school basketball coach when I was a senior in college. When I wasn't asking questions on our ride to and from Pender Academy, to and from Rocky Point, Coach Brogdon would always initiate a conversation about different coaching responsibilities. This classroom in the car was invaluable in preparation for things to come. Coach Mike Roberts, who was the head coach at North Carolina at the time I graduated here, Mike offered me his GA position as his only assistant coach. Back in the day, that was it. Mike was a head coach, I was a GA. There were two of us running the program. We had a JV club. I coached JVs, helped Mike with the varsity. He did the recruiting, I ran the camps. I took my 12 hours a semester. And then the following year, he found some money to put together and create a pitching coaching position. Hired a good friend of mine, asked me to stay, and he says, I got a little bit for you, but I think we can work it out if you'll stay. I said, Coach, what's the situation? He said, well, you know you got an office in the stadium. He said, we can put a bed in the office. You can shower and change in the locker room. The athletic training table's in the Eringhouse dorm behind the left field wall, and if you'll work one meal a day, checking the athletes in, you can eat free. And I got $2,500 for you for the year. That was a lot of money back then. Took care of my gas and my car insurance. Mike also recommended me for a couple summer jobs in the Cape and the Valley, which allowed me to continue to grow. One story I'll tell you about when I was at Chapel Hill, my first year there as a grad assistant, and of course there's only 2 of us, and we're trying to coach and recruit. There was a young man in Reidsville, North Carolina, that we continued to get letters and phone calls about. And Mike was doing a lot of recruiting in the Northeast at the time, and we were bringing in some good players, but this young man, everything we heard about was, hey, this guy's good. So I kept talking to Mike. I said, Mike, we got to see him play. Well, unfortunately, he was pitching every Friday. Well, Mike called his high school coach, and he said, you know, is there any way you can throw him on a Tuesday? So about 2 weeks later, we were scheduled a doubleheader in Chapel Hill. We were playing Ohio at 2 o'clock, and we were playing UNC Wilmington at 6 o'clock. Mike came to me. He said, hey, you're going to help me coach the first game, but you're going to Greensboro and see him pitch. You'll miss the UNCW game. So I ride to Greensboro, sit down and watch this guy pitch, watch him strike out 20 out of 21. He could have thrown it in a cup. 2 other coaches there, Coach Haywood from Western Carolina, Jim Morris from Appalachian when Jim was at Appalachian. So I let them talk to Scott first, and I talked to Scott, and I said, hey, love what I saw. All I'm going to tell you is Coach Roberts will be in touch tomorrow. No cell phones or anything at that time. I knew, looking at the clock, Mike's probably sitting in the office after the game, so I stopped at the first payphone and I called him. I said, hey, if you don't recruit this guy, you may never get a guy out of North Carolina. 20 out of 21. So Mike calls the next day, goes that night, visits, offers this young man 30%. Young man's name is Scott Bankhead. Scott Bankhead did not lose a game at Chapel Hill the first 2 years he was there, and ended up pitching 10 years in the big leagues. So all I could do with my recruiting from that point forward was go downhill. Coach Guthrie, when I got here, working with Bobby and Coach Brooks, Bobby entrusted me as his full-time assistant. And fortunately for me, he varied my responsibilities throughout our 8 years together so that I was familiar with every area necessary to run a program. His organization, his planning, his priority recommendations allowed me to become a better teacher and a better coach, with an emphasis on the little things, being where your feet are, and serving others. I couldn't have asked for a better person to work for and work with and learn from. He did his part to prepare me for an eventual head coaching position. Dr. David Miller, your honesty and encouragement helped me get the most out of my ability as a student and an athlete. Your occasional visit and words of wisdom kept me steered in the right direction as a head coach. Coach Brooks, Coach offered me a chance to play collegiately. He recommended me for the GA position at Carolina. He offered me a chance to work under him and Coach Guthrie during Coach Brooks' last year coaching. And in his last order of business before retiring, he convinced Paul Miller and Dr. Charles Cahill to hire me as a head coach in 1991. Paul wasn't real sure about it. He didn't know who I was. He was just coming in as athletic director. But he offered me the job, and he said, I'm going to offer you this job, and Paul, I don't know if you remember this or not, but I'm going to pay you the same thing you've been making as the assistant. The budget's tight, and we can make it work. And I said, I'll take it. I'm only a small part of the growth of this program over the last 30 plus years. I've had outstanding assistant coaches and support staff that were committed to the development of the young men in our program. I'm extremely appreciative of all they did to move the program forward, and pleased to say and proud to say that 8 of my former assistants have become head coaches. I'd like to thank them for their loyalty and their dedication to the program. Hundreds of alums, parents, and friends of the program have been instrumental in the improvement initiatives becoming a reality. A number of those folks are here today. I can't thank them enough for their contributions, for believing in us, and more than anything, thanks for your friendship. Hopefully the success of the young men on and off the field provided a great sense of pride for each of you. I didn't win a single game or a championship, never threw a pitch, made a play, hit a ball, ran the bases. I was blessed to have a lot of good young men who worked hard, held one another accountable to become good teams. As we all know, good players make good coaches, and we were fortunate and had our share. I don't think I ever had a bad kid. I had some bad decisions along the way, but not bad kids. I'm graciously appreciative of the impact these young men had on my life, and thankful to be a small part of their growth into husbands, fathers, and upstanding citizens in their communities. Thank you guys for carrying yourself with class, on and off the field, while making every effort to do things the right way. Love you guys. Proud of what you've become. A special thank you to my daughters, Madison and Jordan, my wife, Allison, who, by the way, I met 44 years ago while recruiting her brother. Actually, Chuck Carey wrote a story about that a number of years back. He became an All-American at Clemson, and I've been married 42 years this fall. No doubt my best recruiting job. These ladies, no doubt, Seahawk baseball's most dedicated fans. On occasion, when we were scuffling a little, Jordan would say, I'd get home, and I tried not to bring it home. But I'd get home, and we're playing bad, and Jordan would say, looks like you need to make some changes. The next morning, I'd get up, and she'd have her lineup on the kitchen counter. Believe it or not, I did use one of those. We actually won. Thank you all for your sacrifice, your understanding, your love and support throughout our career. Having worked for every AD and all but one chancellor, I'm proud to have served this university my entire career. I'm grateful for the multitude of friendships developed on campus and in the community. This area has provided a wonderful environment to raise a family in, as well as prepare young men and women for the responsibility life would soon bring. I encourage you all to live selflessly, compassionately serve others, hold yourself accountable, never stop learning, and never sell yourself short. Players, students, and employees for that matter, don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Personal relationships matter. Before I finish up, I want to recognize a group of guys Stand up. These are teammates of mine. Had no idea they were showing up. But I do appreciate it. And there's a good thing social media wasn't available back in the day. Thank you all for being here in support of Rafi and Amy, myself and Jerry. Again, I'm deeply humbled by this recognition and honored to be a member of the Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I guess the only question still, I guess we'll never know, how many more wins you would have had if you had listened to her and used her roster. That's the only thing we'll never know. We'll never know. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Our final inductee of the class of 2026 put the men's basketball program on the NCAA map in his 7 seasons in the Port City. With a keen basketball mind and colorful demeanor, he led the Seahawks to several firsts with the program and set it on a course of unparalleled success since the early 2000s. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear the story, Jerry Wainwright.
In the 1980s and 90s, UNCW's emerging men's basketball program was desperately seeking an identity. Enter Jerry Wainwright. A native of Berwyn, Illinois, Wainwright took over the reins of the Seahawk program in the summer of 1994. Instilling a gritty, blue-collar style of play, he brought the Seahawks immediate success and started the program on its upward trajectory that continues today.
When I first met Coach Wainwright, I'd been in a car for about 36 straight hours driving down from very tip of Maine. Just extremely welcoming. You could tell he was a family guy. Then I met Mrs. Wainwright, who was insanely welcoming as well. You could tell he had really was all about building a family culture with his guys and his team. And then the thing I loved about him, he was super into fitness, and we jumped right into fall training. And everything as far as running and lifting weights and physicality, and that's really where he sets the tone with his guys and building his culture and pushing the limits with yourself physically, which I absolutely loved. But very hands-on head coach. He was at every early morning run, just really building the team culture right from the outset.
The colorful Wainwright loved the game from his early days in Chicago and honed his skills at Colorado College before entering the high school and college coaching ranks. He came to the North Carolina coast after serving as an assistant coach at Wake Forest. In 8 seasons, he built a 136-103 record and piloted the Seahawks to a pair of NCAA 2000 and 2002 and NIT 1998 and 2001 berths, with 3 regular season conference championships and 2 20-win seasons.
Coach Wainwright is just such a people person, and it was just such a culture that he built, and I absolutely loved playing for him. Just the team morale and just the way he built the program, top to bottom. It was just such an awesome time to be a part of the Wilmington program.
Wainwright was named CAA Coach of the Year in 1997 and 2001, and in 2023, he was recognized as recipient of the Gene Bartow Award, presented annually by the National Association of Basketball Coaches to a current or former coach for contributions to the game. Overall, Wainwright directed the program to its first ever postseason berth, first 20-win season in 1998, and the first win in the NCAA tournament, a 93-89 triumph over the University of Southern California in 2002. The Seahawks averaged 17 wins per season during his successful tenure.
Funniest Coach Wainwright story, definitely CAA championship. Obviously that was such a special night for me. We had worked so hard my full 4 years to get to that point to where we could actually get the school to the NCAA tournament for the first time. So tensions were high. We're in there, coach is giving his pregame speech. Everybody's super excited going into the game, but we were the underdogs, so we knew we had a really good chance against Richmond. We had a guy number 11, Brett Blizzard, on our team. But going into the game, coach is giving us his pregame speech, blah, 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 getting us all fired up, and guys, you know, making us believe in itself. And he goes, guys, at the end of the day, everybody in Richmond can kiss my butt. He pulls his pants down and he had a fake butt.
In May of 2025, Wainwright was inducted into the Greater Wilmington Sports Hall of Fame. In addition, he was honored by UNCW Athletics in the fall of 2025 with the establishment of the Jerry Wainwright Scholarship for UNCW men's basketball.
But the one thing I can always say about Coach Wainwright, and the most amazing trait that he has, is just how much he truly cares about people. There's no coach in all of NCAA history that could possibly spend the amount of time that he does with his ex-players. And my relationship with him has grown so much over the years. You know, obviously I played for him going on 30 years ago, and I talk to him more now than I did when I played for him, which is crazy. He's truly family, and that's how he makes all of his ex-players feel. He's always available for you. You need any advice, you pick up the phone. And I know it's not just me that feels that way, it's everybody that's ever played for him. It's absolutely amazing how he finds the time and truly cares about everybody that he comes in contact with. And it's not just the actual player, but always asking how my parents are doing, still knows, you know, ask me how my brother, sisters are doing, everybody. So absolutely amazing that he finds the amount of time to do everything that he does throughout the course of the day.
Wainwright is enjoying retirement with his family and friends nearby, always willing to engage and share his thoughts on the game of basketball and life in general. He and his wife Debbie will celebrate their 40th wedding anniversary in June. Jerry Wainwright's legacy as a friend, coach, and mentor is one of loyalty and excellence. He joins former player Bill Mayu, an all-time Seahawk great, today in the UNCW Athletic Hall of Fame.
He should be in any Hall of Fame that there's out there to me. Coach Wainwright is a true Hall of Famer. He built this program. When everyone talks about UNCW basketball, Jerry Wainwright's name is at the top of the list. What he did went from when he got here to when he left. He built Trask Coliseum to me. And the thing that I always talk about is how he actually brought the community into Trask Coliseum. He was out countless hours working the community, and the team became the town's team. And just the relationships that we were able to build with players, with the fans, and you still see that Trask Coliseum today. And just the other night, when that man walks into the Trask, every fan knows who he is. He built this program and obviously got us over the hump, first NCAA tournament team that I was so privileged to be a part of, and then obviously our first NCAA win. But he is UNCW basketball.
Jerry, yes, as a longtime Seahawk fan and been around the program for so many years, we would go to Richmond and come back disappointed, and all those games we were close, but thank you for helping us to get over the hump and get this basketball program to where it is now today, even more so. So thank you for all of that. Did not hear that story before though, so I'm a little worried. So please come forward, Jerry, our athletic director, Michael Oblinger, please come up for the presentation of your Hall of Fame award. Congratulations. Thank you.
it after the story. Y'all can hear me, can't you? Yeah, so this is. Wasn't going to start this way, but I have to clean that story up now. There was an article in the Richmond paper when we went into the tournament that the UNCW Seahawks play CYO, Catholic Youth Organization basketball, which when I grew up, there was no AAUs. There was, that was something you did if you didn't play high school. Almost like we were remedial in what we did. And we had gotten close several times. We had lost in the finals a couple of years. I think there was a split, but we had lost. And I always thought, I don't know if I got the guys ready. I don't know if they're loose enough. So I happened to be in a novelty store the previous summer and just looking around, and they had a pair of stretch underpants that went from my knees past my buttocks, for a nice word. And they had plastic panels that were flesh colored, okay, in the back. So we get to the finals, and only one person knew about it. It's one of our managers. And when the kids went out for the last warm-up, I went back in the restroom, put these on underneath. And so I'll never forget the looks on their faces as I ended my talk. And so as I'm talking, I take off my sport coat, and I start to unbuckle my pants. And Victor Ebong, who had an unbelievable smile, was sitting right in front of me. And nobody knew about it, not even my family. And I said, I made sight of that article. And that's what they think we are. So I said, and as I unbuckled my pants, and then and literally, there's some guys here that were there. It was kind of like all the air got sucked out of the room. I said, everybody in this college seeing you kiss our ass. Well, all of a sudden, it was like stunned silence. And then it was like they all had dynamite in their bottoms. They all jumped up. They all started laughing. Thanks God for letting me confess. I never, what's that thing? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? I got to talk to Danny about that. So I know many of you. Sorry, they went. Okay, they can't hear. I'm sorry. It's a dangerous spot for me with my eyesight, but. Many of you saw me amble up to the podium here. I do want to start out with just, there's so many young people, and by the way, you have the best behaved kids that I have had. I'm not trying to jinx them. I mean, my kids didn't act that way till they were in their 20s. God bless. Saw me walk up to the podium, and the other thing I want to make sure I get across is enjoy them while they're young. And I'm speaking about your hips and knees. That's as far as I've walked in 2 years from the back of that without asking for my wife's help. Age is indeed humbling. I look at hair color and hair, and holy cow, it was 32 years ago that I was fortunate enough to get this job. Age is humbling. I recently went to an antique show with my wife, and people started bidding on me. I went to my hairdresser recently. I said, "Make me look sexy." She started drinking. But to get to what's at hand, I've had segments of life of young people. Obviously, the two ex-players, Coach Scalf who is young in my world. I really, this is an opportunity for me to say thank you. And I've always, I remember my mother saying to me one time, who was very, very religious, she said, the greatest two-word prayer in this country and in your life, do you know what it is? And of course, I said, God bless. She said, that's a high-level prayer. But the greatest prayer you can use in your life is thank you. 2 words. Kind of absent in today's culture, isn't it? But that doesn't mean it can't happen, and I certainly want to take the opportunity to say thank you this afternoon. First of all, I want to congratulate Ralph and Amy. I'll tell you what, great presentations. I didn't have the opportunity to see you all play. You represent, as a coach, I'm sure Mark would say the same thing. The opportunity to coach people like you is a blessing. I know Kathy's over here. To have the blessing to coach people that are committed, not involved, and to see them grow up and to be able to communicate that in the way you did is what it's all about for a coach. So congrats to you. I was fortunate enough to work with Mark. A lot of times Mark would speak before I did. So that's why I don't like microphones. I was constantly pulling it up. I hurt my back. But I will say this. We were talking out in front, and I said to him, boy, if they only knew, if everybody here really knew back in the day. Mark was unbelievable to me when I first got here. We were in the trenches my 8 years here. Tom said 7, but we can take out my worst year. That's my 2. That's what whiteout's for. But I was around such amazing coaches. Kathy's here, obviously coached volleyball for a while I was here. But Calvin Lane, Aiden Heaney, who's still here, Paul Carney, Jim Sprecher, a great track coach, and of course Dave Allen. You couldn't be around a better role model as a coach than Dave. And we've already noticed them, or they've been brought up. Dave Miller, Mel Gibson were here when I was coaching. Couldn't have been more supportive. Mel come to practices and come to games. Dave was an unbelievable advocate for the guys on my team in terms of academics. And having gone through it himself was great to them. And of course, Joe Browning, who there is only one Joe Browning. And of course, in Mark's defense, if Joe spoke before Mark had to raise the microphone too. But there's not a better person than Joe, how he represented the athletes here, and what a friend he's been. So many bus rides, walking in and out of arenas with Joe, magic times in all our players' lives. I have to certainly thank some of the people that helped raise money back in the day, George Roundtree, Kay Crocker, David Jones, Bobby Harrelson, Bruce Kavanaugh's here. Unbelievable what they meant to our program. I'm really happy that Chris is here, the AD. What they've done here now in terms of their athletic program and how it's expanded and their place and where they're at has certainly been helped and been pushed forward by his leadership. And he's been a great support for the basketball coach here now. He's a wonderful young man and an excellent coach, Takeo Siddle. And of course, I didn't take a job where somebody was fired. I took a job where Kevin Eastman left. And Kevin Eastman went on and got out of coaching. He's written books. He's been an NBA executive. He's been an assistant in the NBA. He left me great kids, unbelievable kids. And I took the job kind of late, and we had scholarship available. We never messed with the mix. I had 12 really, really good people. And Kevin had done all that over a period of time and put that together, so I'll be forever indebted to him. I'd like to just mention my table, and if you would please, it's easy to clap, and I know we're late in the afternoon. Remember I spoke at a banquet for Kansas, and I thought it really went well, and then Coach Self got up to end the night. He said, you know, Jerry, really appreciate you coming out, really appreciate, you know, your speech. You know, we could have listened to you all night. And he said in 2 more hours we would have. I'm gonna try now, I'm gonna try. First of all, Gene Lawler, who everybody knows in this room. There's not a more dedicated Seahawk fan, Wilmington person. Now, what we'll do is we'll clap at the end, okay? Sorry, Gene, you got to. You are a headliner. John Allen, Hughes Brothers. I got guys at that table that worked in that tire. See, guys used to work in the summer, okay? They used to work in the summer. And what John provided our guys was a place to work, tough work, hard work, had to show up, made them appreciate what they were earning, made them appreciate what people that weren't as fortunate as they were to go into college had to do. I'll be forever indebted to John, and obviously a great supporter of athletics here. 2 people that were in the faculty, really administration, Sandy King and was in compliance. And you know, that's always a bad word around coaches, but it wasn't here. People tried to help you here. They didn't try to catch you, all right? And I don't mean that funny. I mean, they were really, really knowledgeable. And when Sandy moved into academics, she helped every athlete on this campus. And of course, Pat Howard. You want to talk about somebody who knows Wilmington, knows this university, knows the NCAA, what she's done with her career and her life, and has become a lifelong friend. I have 2 special friends. I got hired on the weekend. On Tuesday, I walked into an Italian, so Sunday, I got notified I got the job. On Tuesday, I walked into a strip mall Italian deli down on College Road here, all right? Taste of Italy. I'm from Chicago, okay? And I hadn't had really tasted Italy. Of course, I was at Wake Forest for 9 years, all right? Hadn't really permeated the Southern culture yet, okay? Ate a lot of barbecue and loved it, you know? I always said I'd rather die eating too much barbecue than Brussels sprouts. I walked into that deli and I met a business owner who had just started. That was the first week they were open. And that's Chris Carino and his lovely wife, Marie. And that's what this kind of stuff does for you. 32 years of lifelong friends. You guys talk about Wilmington and connections. I've seen their kids grow up. They're at our table. And of course, the guy who hired me, Paul Miller. Mark mentioned him. Paul, former basketball player, played with Jerry West at West Virginia. A guy who loved athletics, loved sports, really, really helped coaches. And at a time when it was really tough around here in terms of the finances, as this school was just trying to get off the ground. He gave me a chance, and I was not necessarily everybody's classic choice. And again, I've been blessed to have a 32-year friendship after Paul retired, to continue with him and his beautiful and lovely wife, Marie. And in a lot of times in the early going, they were parents, kind of adopted parents for Deb, myself, and our children. And of course, my wife, Debbie. The line still resonates, right? My press conference, when I said, y'all think I can't recruit? Well, take a look, that's my wife. Now, I dare you to say it. Now, I was helped by a gentleman who many of you know. His name was Jack Daniels. I kept her glass full. And I sure look a lot better after 4 drinks, and kind of tricked her down the road. But I can't tell you how she still is a pivotal point in players' lives, their families' lives, have made friends with parents, and is a well-known person in this community because of who she is. They used to say every basketball coach needs a wife. So when they can't blame referees, they got somebody else to blame. I got the best, and I couldn't be prouder of her being here today because she's really the one behind it. Got some players here. I'm not going to ask them to stand. You'll recognize them. From my first team, Chris Min, 3 children, all college. Chris runs a financial business up in West Virginia. Josh Hurley, 2 kids, has a business, and a very, very good business. Did a great job of turning his life around and doing everything else necessary to become a great parent. Wilmington's own Marcus Green, 3 children, okay? An incredible success in business up in Raleigh. My first 2 co-captains after my first year, Lamont Franklin. Lamont was a terrific player here. Lamont has 3 children. He's an assistant now at George Washington University. Done a great job as an assistant in college basketball. Has 3 beautiful children. And of course, Bill Mayhew. Ralph, his 2 sons played tennis. And I really, really at a high level. And he kind of did what you did. He married a tennis player. Yeah, he couldn't hit a badminton thing, but he got genetics is an interesting thing. There's not a better person that walked out of this university than Bill Mayhew. As you know now, as many of you know, he's a tenured professor at Duke, and that doesn't come easy. And was the real fulcrum of getting really one of the true centerpieces of getting this business turned around, this program turned around for us. Locally, you saw Danny. Brett Blizzard just, his wife had another child. Tommy Peterson will be here, but unfortunately his mother-in-law died here recently. Brad Brownell, he's in the portal with everybody else, trying to get as much money as, he's fighting the new college basketball. Of course, Mike Capaccio was here. He just retired as the AD at Citadel. And what's an interesting story is Mark Byington. As you know, Mark played for us 4 years, was the only freshman on that first team I took when I was here. Mark is coming off a second great year at Vanderbilt. He just hired Joel Justice, who played here, who was the associate head coach at Ohio State. Now he's on Mark's staff at Vanderbilt. And Mark also just hired Rodney Terry, who was one of my assistants, who I wound up working for later when he took his first head job at Fresno, and of course, as you know, later became the head coach at Texas. And it's funny that kind of went all full circle. A lot of guys are coaching their kids today, and whether it be soccer, basketball, volleyball. Have some guys that have daughters that are really, really good volleyball players. Of course, Marty Jarman, as you know, played for us, and he's the athletic director at UCLA. And Craig Callahan couldn't make it, was a great, great player here, and certainly somebody that in the future will be in the Hall of Fame. I did say this a minute ago, I don't think I was the first choice. Obviously, I'm an ACC guy, was at Wake Forest 9 years. I think everybody was looking for Carolina. Obviously, why wouldn't you? Great, great, great school. Other half looking for Duke. Maybe I was in the right spot, I don't know. I do remember saying, I never really, never really bothered me. My goal and our players' goal was that maybe I could be the best choice for that time frame. I had a lot of experience. I coached high school for 15 years, actually coached in prison for 1 year. I was not an inmate. I was on an internship. So I had heard things like, I remember one of my kids was being recruited, and the college coach asked him, said, are you in the top half of your class. The kid looked him right in the eye and said, no. He said, but I make that half possible. That's a heck of an answer. And I never heard it as a recruit. Got to think about that one. I remember going to a kid one time. I said, I took a kid out of the game. He said, Coach, I'm not tired. I said, I know you're not, but I'm tired of you. So, and the classic was, I sent a kid one time. I said, son, go to the end of that line. He came back to me. I said, you understand what I said? I told you to go to the end of that line. He said, well, there's somebody already there. I was prepared for this job, all right? But college basketball then was so different. The CAA was so different. It was regionalized. Everybody played home and home. Incredible rivalries. I remember when I came in the league, East Carolina was in the league. I remember speaking to boosters, and I told a story of my son working at a really kind of shady, dirty restaurant here in Wilmington that'll go unnamed. It wasn't Taste Italy, but way before, all right? And all of a sudden, a well-dressed couple, young couple, came in and sat down, and my younger son Scott was a waiter, and he came up to wait on him, and the guy was looking around. He said, did you ever think about going to college? And the son looked at him and said, yeah, I am in college. The guy said, well, I graduated from East Carolina, and I would never work in a place like this. And my son looked at him and said, well, I'm going to UNCW. I'd never eaten a place like this. All of a sudden, there was fundraising that was a little bit picked up. But it was a lot different. And I know, Mark and any of the sports that had a chance to make revenue, we played guarantee games. I put our guys through a lot. We tried to, those were games that you would go out and be paid for. That money went into the athletic fund, and I knew that coming in, and we never really talked about it. I wanted to recruit guys and have guys around me that wanted to play the best anyway. I mean, the reality of it was, for a great part of the time I was here, we were a one-bid league. We needed to do well in that tournament at the end of the year. And we're going to play tournament basketball all year. Our guys recognized that, but they also had the pride and the will to want to play, just like a Mark schedule. Mark played anybody, anywhere, and hoping to get better, to get that automatic bid that came with it. I was not easy to play for, but they all knew it coming in. I never, ever told them something that wouldn't happen in the home. I had a thing on my desk that said, modify behavior. All right, don't rehabilitate character. I can get a kid to be on time. I can get him to sit up straight. I can get a kid to say yes instead of yeah. Kids like these two that were inducted today, I can get them. Now, I know you can modify behavior medically. That's not what I had time for, and that's not what I was really trained to do. We had a lot of rules, but they became understandings. No wristbands, no headbands, no names on jerseys. I got crucified for that. People just, I'd say, man, I had this group of older ladies that came to me every game, we don't know who's out. We would hand deliver programs to them. I'd say the numbers match the name. You could never show negative emotion. You could never show weakness. You never, ever stood at the free throw line waiting, put your hands on your knees. You never, ever, ever showed weakness by putting down a teammate that maybe bobbled a ball or kicked the ball out of bounds. That was the time when they needed you most. We had a thing called Wainwright time. It was 15 minutes earlier than whatever time I told you to be there. Where you sat in class, you better be sitting in the front. Our off season was unbelievably hard, so hard. We ran 3 miles, and you had to have a 3-mile time, and it was really tough. Basically, it was all self-sacrifice, team first. I was fortunate enough to play for guys like that, and those of you who spoke understand the value of a team, as does Mark. There's a guy sitting in this room who is the brother of a name you've already heard, Jim Mayhew. Jim, just put your hand up, would you? You can put up higher than that. It's like, did you do your homework? Anybody who didn't do their homework? Jim turned our whole program around. As a volunteer his first year, Paul was good enough then to find him some money and everything else. Self-made man. Unbelievable, unbelievable young man. Unbelievable. And what he did in terms of putting strength and courage and determination into our players. And not only doing that, but befriending them for life. Mark said about the brotherhood of teams. The best thing, like those guys sitting back there, man, oh man, come on. You know what that's all about? That's the best part of it. We used to talk about it all the time. The things you share in the locker room, the year, the season, no one else will ever understand but you, and you will carry it through your life. I made the rule when I was first as a high school coach, you must come and see me every day. And we would never talk about basketball. Talk about family, shirts, kid around or whatever. And you know why? Because when I first started out coaching, I ripped a kid, ripped him. He was terrible in practice. But he never told me, ever told me, that he had heard his grandmother was very ill. Why didn't he tell me? Was I that intimidating? Was I that standoffish? Was I that so divorced from what's really important about why you guys are being recognized and why the rest of you are here? Relationships are far more important than accomplishments. You don't have to be old to say that. When you start to live it, when you really understand it, and that's what changed. I used to say to our guys before practice every day, your game, my job. Sometimes I even show them pictures of my family. I'd like, play ball to feed these people. One of our major rules is on the court, what's best for the team. Off the court, what's best for the individual. That's why I saw him every day. It's the best thing I ever did in my life. For me, too. Basically for me. A coach-directed team is at best average. A peer pressure team wins championships. These guys ran themselves once they got it going. You talked about culture, Ralph. I know Amy mentioned it with teammates. And certainly Mark's culture stands. 900 wins stands on its own. We were under the one premise of the whole program was UNCW does not beat UNCW. We took that sign everywhere we went, put it in every locker room we played in. We were not going to turn it over. And if you tried at all to score upon us, we were going to try and do everything we could to stop you. Because those are things you can control. You can control your effort and preparation. And the reason I say that to you is, I'm a bag of donuts. I've helped more people get in Hall of Fames than deserve to be in a Hall of Fame myself. But programs put people in a position to have an award given like I have. I do want to say one thing, because some of you have heard me say this before. I left the best team I had. We had just beaten Southern Cal. We had everybody back but one player. I also had Brad Brownell on my staff. Brad had been with me for 8 years. It was a seamless transition. Well, why did I leave? The reason I left was I wanted to live in Wilmington. I couldn't live in Wilmington until I left Wilmington. The finances, the coaching, and everything else, I was older. I mean, obviously Mark's a life, people have put in their time here. And I was much older at that point in time. I wanted to live here. And the good Lord gave me opportunities after I left here to make the money to come back. But that's not something my wife and I ever deviated from. It's a privilege to be a coach. It truly is. People lend you their children, and they want them back better. I know I wanted that for my 2 sons. All of you, in your own way, have helped that come true in my lifetime as a coach at Wilmington. This really is an award for the players, the university, and the city. The support that was given by all three made this a program that allows me to represent this program. It was a privilege to coach here. It's a privilege to live here, an honor to live here. And it's certainly a privilege and an honor to be here today. Appreciate you taking the time to listen to all of us. Some great stories, okay? But my stories, as Mark's are still living. They're still moving. We're watching people grow up at different levels. I've coached kids that are great-grandfathers, and they still call me coach. And that's because of the quality of the support and the people that are behind them, not only in their families, but in the universities like this and in the sports programs that are developed by people who really care. I never once thought the people at Wilmington, or the people at this university never cared. So I represent all of that, and I truly appreciate you giving me the time to say thank you to all the people I wanted to. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Coach. All right, we just have a few more things to do, and then we're going to go to a baseball game. So stand by. At this time, please join me in thanking the members of the selection committee for their work on today's induction. Of course, we also appreciate the fine Aramark staff for helping us to make today's luncheon such a wonderful event. Hope you have enjoyed the food, so please give Aramark staff a round of applause. As a reminder, today's inductees will be recognized prior to this afternoon's baseball game between the Seahawks and Hofstra over at Brooks Field. Please plan to join everyone over there. Please arrive at 3:30 for the special pregame festivities. So we have a few moments before that, but make sure you get over there in time for that. Also be sure to visit the UNCW Athletic Hall of Fame display in the upper concourse of the arena here to learn more about the achievements of our 63 inductees into the Sports Hall of Fame here at UNC Wilmington. Finally, a brief housekeeping note. We would like to have all of the inductees please meet, I guess, up here near the front. You're going to do it in the back. Just follow Joe Browning, and he'll direct you to the area you need to go for pictures shortly for a photograph session with the fellow inductees, your families, and friends. So pictures back there. Yeah, I've got it. Okay, thanks, Joe. Yes, just want to remind everyone as you leave, please take a beautiful UNCW Hall of Fame glass with you, a token for today's festivities. They are located on the table in the back. All right, so please don't forget to do that. I guess we're almost there. Thank you so much for sharing in this special induction for our 4 honorees and making our 15th induction a memorable one. Enjoy the rest of your day here today, and we'll see you this afternoon at Brooks Field. Let's go Seahawks!